How's it going? Good to see everybody. It's great to be back up at training camp here. The energy's been high. I think the competition's been great so far. This is my 14th training camp that I've had the privilege to be a part of with the Chiefs. I was part of the original team that came up here in 2010, so it's always great to come up here to Missouri Western. Entire city of St. Joe's, they just do an outstanding job every year hosting us. So where our roster is right now, we've added 50 new players to the roster since the end of last season, active guys. Whether that be through reserve future signings, unrestricted free agents, draft, trades, waiver claims. So every year, every team is different. So I think Coach stresses, coming up here and building that team camaraderie, especially for the new guys to get acclimated to the way we practice, to the way we, our culture. And that's also an important time for our personnel department. So we're out here every day watching practice. After practice, we're, in there watching tape multiple times to really hone in on different position groups and players. At night, we're meeting with the coaches to get their input and their rankings on the players. How are they doing in the meeting rooms? How are they picking up the playbook? Are the new guys getting acclimated to our culture? And so then once this weekend starts, really, we begin the process of evaluating the other 31 rosters in the league. So that's an important time for us. So it's not just the 14 wide receivers that we have in camp here. It's the 400 league-wide that we're going to get our eyes on. So it's a lot of work. Our pro department does a great job, headed up by Tim Terry, and bringing up those players to, Veach, myself, Mike Bradway, to find value. We're never going to stop trying to add to this roster. When you get up to training camp, the draft is over. There's a few different ways. It's through street free agency. You saw us sign Carlos Dunlap last week, and then through the waiver claim process that happens here after the cutdown day is a big time for us. And then you've also seen us make some small trades during the preseason, whether it's player for player or conditional picks. I think back in 2018, that's how we were able to acquire Tavarius Ward in a trade with Dallas for a player for player. So we're always looking for different ways to add players, to add competition to the group throughout training camp. It's just all part of the process here as we try to get down to the best 53 players, best 16-man practice squad as we head into week one. Excited about this weekend. Another great opportunity for these guys to come out and showcase what they can do and compete. And then, great opportunity for us to kind of evaluate them in game-like conditions now. So, so with that, I'll open it up.
Mike, when you look at this year's group of draft picks, you feel like there's maybe one quality that they all share, or at least most of the guys share? Is there kind of one thing word or quality you might use to sum up this year's group?
So there's a lot of traits we look for through the draft. And it sounds simple, but do they love football? Do they love the process? Do they love the grind? And you see these rookies pushing through practice. I don't know if we've had a rookie miss practice yet. They love the game. They love meeting. They want to get better. They're constantly doing that. So when we're going through that evaluation phase during the draft, and our college guys do a great job of really vetting their personal character and their football character, do they love the game? Are they smart? Are they tough? Are they dependable? Are they going to be good in the community? So those are the things we really try to emphasize over the last couple of years.
You guys go and take 5 defensive backs, which is half the class, which is really unique, somewhat unique.
Yeah.
How much of that strategy was, okay, let's get quantity here? I know you guys obviously like the quality of players, but you're saying, okay, we're going to draft a lot of these guys and sort of see what sticks in a sense.
Yeah, I think every year you lose some players, right? So we lost Tavarius, and there's that window of 2 or 3 years we have guys under contract, and then there's going to be a new influx of players. Last year was more the offensive line. This year was the defensive back. So yeah, we made it a priority to get a lot of guys in here to up the competition. And these guys are out here learning every day. And these rookies have been great. They're going to have their ups and downs, but they've been fighting through it. They're very coachable, which is a good thing. And so far so great. We're early in the process. We obviously have a whole evaluation here with the preseason games, but it's been good so far.
Mike, for you professionally, when you go back to the time when you first arrived here, going back to 2010, from John Dorsey to Scott Pioli to even Brett Veach, what would you say are some of the biggest takeaways that you've learned from those 3 general managers as you try to set yourself up for success somewhere down the road? So
I've been fortunate enough to learn from some great people in this business, and it's been the 3 general managers that I've worked under. Scott hired me here in 2009. I was able to learn from him, the New England scale and how they evaluated players and their philosophy that he had with Coach Belichick. And then John comes in here, and it's a whole different ball game, whole different way of evaluating guys, different grade scale, different philosophy, different meeting process. And that was deeply rooted in Ron Wolf's. So they had 2 organizations that had a lot of success. And then, with Veach, he's put his own spin on things, and every GM, every leader is different. and their philosophies. And you know, I have a special relationship with Veach because we worked, you know, with each other for so long before he became general manager. So, you know, I would say the one thing I've learned from Veach is, you know, his ability to connect with everybody in the organization, collaboration, you know, from Clark to Andy to Mark to myself to Rick to Ted. And, you know, just being in that environment and just everybody pulling in the right direction, I think has been a real key to our success there.
Also, just along those lines, Mike, I mean, you've played different roles within each of those administrations. How much do you feel like that's just sort of expanded what you've been able to grasp?
Yeah, well, you know, 14 seasons, so I think I've started out in the college side and had a lot of different roles. I was actually the first year we had training camp up here, I was doing operations. I had Mitch Reynolds' job plus the pro scouting duties. So yeah, I'm very fortunate to be exposed to all that stuff. The guys who hired me allowed me to grow, and so I think that's the biggest thing. So yeah, I've had worn a lot of hats, I guess, in the organization, whether that's college and pro or doing operations. You just kind of see how all the moving pieces in the organization come together. So just been really fortunate that way.
I cover the Bears, so I'm contractually obligated to ask you about Ryan Poles.
Yeah.
What about Poles' ado?
So I go way back with Ryan. So we started out, when I first started working at Boston College, he was actually a player on the team. So I loved Ryan, the player, and then, you know, when he got done with the Bears, we had a spot open for a GA job, so we hired him in the recruiting office there. And you know, we've had a special relationship over the years. When we first moved out here, and I was living in an apartment with him and his wife. I don't know how much they appreciated that, but the money was tight then, and I appreciate that. And Ryan's going to do a great job there. You know, we're really close friends, you know, close with the family, close with Katie and his kids, and just couldn't be more happy that he's out there.
He's being tested right now with Roquan Smith. What about his personality leads you to think that he's built for this? Because it's a stressful thing.
The thing with Ryan, he's calm and steady, so he's going to make the right decisions. He's going to take in the information. He's going to be patient, and I'm sure things will work out there for him.
Your name tends to come up a lot as the season ends as a hot name to watch for potential general manager spot. How much do you pay attention to that, and do you feel you are ready for that next step?
I do see it, yeah. You know, I'm very fortunate to have the job that I have here now, so you want to stay focused on the job at hand. I do have aspirations to become a general manager one day, and I think when the time is right, it'll come.
Couple more.
Mike, how often do you get to talk to players, whether it's here in training camp or during the regular season, and how do you try to navigate the message that is somewhat aligned with what the coaches are saying, but obviously given the front office's perspective?
Yeah, so I think it's a great job, a great thing that we have so much communication with the coaches. We meet with them every night, so we're all on the same page on how they're doing in the meeting rooms and how they're doing at practice. Of course, we have discussions about it. But yeah, you have to keep those relationships with the players, and you know, as the season goes on and they're in their office all the time, I get, you know, closer to some of these guys. But we do such a good job of being on the same page with the coaching staff and the personnel staff that it's the same message.
Last one, Todd.
You guys have been here a long time, obviously, been through a lot of different levels of rosters that were Super Bowl rosters or maybe not so much, right?
Yep.
How many really good football players are you guys going to cut that can still play in this league? Is this about as deep as you've had?
Yeah, I'd say the competition has been great in every position group. So there's going to be some players here that we're going to have to move on from, just numbers-wise, that and they're going to be playing for some other teams. So, you know, I credit to the whole personnel department for really getting the competition in here high.
Let's do one more.
You've got some late-round draft picks that are, at least for now, competing for some playing time.
Mm-hmm.
Did you have an idea that guys like Josh Williams and Pacheco and maybe even Jalen Watson would be kind of competing this far into camp for some meaningful time?
So when you're drafting that late, you're looking for traits, and I think they all had those kind of traits. You know, Watson's a bigger corner. You know, Isaiah's a bigger back that could run. Even Nazi is a guy that ran a 4.35 coming out. So they have these traits, and then when you're looking for those traits, okay, what's the characteristics that's going to make them work? And they all kind of had that. They were all, you know, trying to get better every year in college, and we've seen some of them at all-star games. They got better through the week. So we did have high hopes for them coming in, but you don't know until they get on the field.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Mike.
Some crap about Saturday's game?
My brother?
Yeah.
Yeah, we already began. Yeah.
Good seeing you, Mike.
Yeah, thanks, guys.